Is this thing on? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in to episode 4. So where have I been, really? You know, it's been like a 3-month hiatus, and nobody's really seen anything. So we'll start the video off with kind of an explanation and an overview of kind of what I've been doing, and in return, what's been going on with the build. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for tuning back into episode 4. Based off the teaser or the little videos that I've uploaded in the last few days, the video today was planned to actually be uploaded yesterday, but with everything going on and my checklist of things to accomplish, that didn't exactly happen as planned. So today we'll do episode 4. It's been quite a while since we last had a video about the little hatchback, probably October. So there's been a lot of progress made, but unfortunately a lot of it was done off camera. So back in October, I had been toying with the idea of whether or not I was actually going to be able to attend the challenge. My wedding date is now official for March 30th, and I didn't quite know if that would be feasible. So since then, I've decided that this is something that I really want to do, and something that I'm really passionate about and I enjoy as a hobby. So I'm going to make it happen. And in return, I've got a lot to accomplish in a short amount of time. So this video intro, if you will, is primarily going to be about me bringing you up to speed on what's happened, so that way there's really no rock unturned. So back in October, the reason behind the videos just kind of going off the path or off the radar was that I changed job roles, and there was a period of time where I spent pretty much every waking hour trying to determine what I needed to do in my new role for my own sanity. But as time has progressed, I've gotten a little bit more comfortable, been able to manage that. So here we are again, back with some more videos. So in October, the last you guys had seen was probably the hatchback, putting the radiator support in. Whenever I bought the car already had the engine in it. That's pretty much the only thing that's kind of remained the same: the engine, transmission, and then the shell chassis. So since then, Dustin and Mike up at MD, I guess you call them MD Fab, I don't know. They actually handled a lot of the fab work for me. So we built a 3-inch intercooler kit. It's got a 28.5-inch core, 12 inches tall, 3 inches thick, bar and plate design from that intercooler kit. From that point, they made it to where there's only 4 couplers, something I had a lot of trouble with in the past. And you'll see that later on here whenever we go over the car. The kit is actually flanged with a 50mm blow-off valve, and it runs back down to it's like a 2.25-inch reducer. So I'm running a Hunter tuned, it's a GT3076 knockoff, one of the little Chinese choo-choo train turbos. I'm running one of those on top of MD's top mount manifold. Real slick design for another 44mm gate. Right now, I didn't have the opportunity or the finances to be able to replace the blow-off valve and the wastegate that I bought the kit up with. So there's another eBay Hong Kong tile 50mm equivalent blow-off valve, and then a 44mm. It's one of the new tile MVS style with the coolant. Kind of odd, but I guess there's a purpose in the road racing community. So that's all actually mounted up and on the car now. Mike and Dustin did a fantastic job making it more or less turnkey. The only hiccup we had was the oil filter sandwich, and that was just primarily my lack of understanding really what I was buying, but ended up being able to resolve that. So they did the oil pan, they did all the fittings, they did pretty much everything to get the turbo and the manifold and everything on the car. So from that point, we'll fast forward a little bit, and I went through Burton Racing, and I picked up a Hondata S300. We worked out a deal as a challenge participant, and ended up getting a P06 OBD1 ECU. He converted it to VTEC for me. Did boost by gear. I've got the Burton Racing boost by gear plug-and-play harness and the Mac 3-port solenoid. His airline kit is absolutely fantastic. I ran into a little bit of a hiccup though with one of the straight connectors. I ended up having to drill and tap the compressor housing, and by doing that, the little fitting at some point, maybe in packaging or transfer shipment, the blue grommet that's in the end of it actually came out, and I couldn't make it work. So Robert took care of me. He was actually able to send me another 4 fittings. So I used a lot of that nylon and plumbed the entire system. There's probably going to be a picture I'll put in here somewhere, but fantastic. The only thing that I have left to do on the Burton Racing pieces that I ordered, I also picked up a fuel pump, the hot wire relay kit, I guess you could call it. I'll tag his link in the bottom, so if you want to go to the store and check anything out. But I picked up one of those. I still got to install it in the car, and I still actually have the boost by gear harness. I spent most of my day yesterday messing on other stuff, but we'll be doing that this afternoon in addition to a Walbro fuel pump. So I feel like I'm leaving some stuff out here, and I may end up adding some pieces here, cutting the video in or something to add in maybe what I forgot. But a lot of this is just me rambling. This morning I'm actually en route to pick up a new surprise for the hatchback. I've been looking for this for a little while, probably since I bought the car. It's been in need pretty much the entire time I've owned it, but I finally located one this morning, halfway local, so I'm on an hour trip to go get it, and then whenever I get back to the house, I'll show you guys what it is. But, so back in the time frame, Mike and them did the entire kit. I got the car back. Let's see, prior to that, you saw the video about all the other stuff inside the car. The coilovers for max speed and rod. Lower control arms in the rear. New driver's side axle on the passenger side. New radiator support, new headlights. Because of the front mount intercooler kit, I had to hack up the bumper. I left the center section in it, but it all fits. I added one of those quick release bumper side pieces, so I don't have to deal with zip ties or screws and bolts trying to put the car on and off the trailer. I actually found a set of gauges local. Pretty cool story there. I met a guy, his name's Taylor Canton. Awesome guy, kind of flips some cars, does some content back and forth on Facebook. But he had a set of gauges, so I picked up, it's an autometer, I think it's a Sport Light series. Ended up getting a electronic oil pressure, feeds to the sending unit out under the hood, it's not mechanical. Ended up getting a boost gauge, a 96 to 2000 speedometer cluster surround gauge bezel ordeal thing. By doing that, I also ended up with a A-pillar pod and a PLX wideband. I've never used a PLX in the past. I've always used an AEM, and with Neo Garage, sponsoring the event, I actually got hooked up on an AEM X Series wideband. So I posted up the PLX last weekend on Facebook Marketplace, sold it for 80 bucks, come get it kind of deal. I was tired of looking at it, and I replaced it with an AEM. That's all in the car now. Everything's functional except for the brown wire that I late last night determined that needs to be ground. So we'll need to hook that up this afternoon as well. I'm absolutely like over soldering completely. I haven't done any of this stuff, guys, in probably at least 5 years. So a lot of the technique and things I'm having to relearn, and try not to melt anything in the process. but rosin core seems to be my friend on the soldering aspect. So we'll continue on the road here a little bit. I'll regain my thought process, and we'll pick up where we leave off. I'm trying to use the app for iOS and turn the video start-stop on. I'm trying to use that so I don't have to constantly reach up here and look you with a little GoPro. And I can't tell if I'm recording or not because it seems to have a huge delay. So if there's any awkward moments where I look at you and it doesn't really look like I know what's going on, that's why. So I don't know exactly how I want to structure this, but I want to give you guys the most information I can about the last 3 months that you haven't seen. So the agenda is not yet well planned out, so stay tuned. Is this thing on? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 4. It's been quite some time, and everybody's probably wondering where I've been. Things have been a little bit more complicated. I had to take a break for work reasons, but I'm back, and the hatch is coming along quite nicely. So today we're going to do more of a vlog, an update, a lot of me talking and showing you guys some pictures as I go. But I'm en route to pick up some more parts and trying to do as much as I can to maximize my time. It's Sunday, 45 degrees, which is pretty warm for January here in the Charlotte area. But it actually feels really warm with all the 20-degree weather we've had. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on the build and let you know kind of where I'm at. I will be at the Honda YouTube Challenge February 23rd, along with a bunch of the other guys. I'm awful bad at doing shout-outs, so I'm not even going to attempt it. I'll probably leave somebody out. We may save that for a different part of the video. But we're driving along 85 North here. Driving a 2018 F-150. I traded the Tacoma back in December. It wasn't really practical for what I wanted to accomplish here in the YouTube side of things, along with my my hatch and buying and selling a few cars. So I needed something that would pull the trailer, and the Taco would have probably done fine back and forth to the track, but it doesn't really suit the purpose for most vehicles that I would buy to resell. It just doesn't have enough pulling power. But I'm pretty tickled with the Ford here. It seems to be a real stout pulling vehicle. Just forget what I said. I need to make a blooper reel. Maybe the more I talk to you guys on camera, the easier it'll be for me to like put my thoughts together and verbalize what I'm trying to say. I've got 26 minutes before I'm here to pick up the part. I'm not going to film. I feel like that's disrespectful to somebody's house. They'll probably think I'm weird for trying to do so, but give you guys an update throughout the day as much as I can, and show you what I've been working on, talk about the hatch. I sold some vehicles in the last few months, some good home stuff, learned a few lessons along the way. All good stuff, all good stuff. So stay tuned. We made it back, so let's go ahead and get this party started. We'll go over the car. I'll show you in detail kind of what I've done since you last saw in October. We'll flip the camera around here in a second, but for the time being, the new surprise is inside, and then in return, it's going to need a little persuasion, I think, but I'll get to that here in just a second. So I'll flip the camera around, show you the surprise, and we'll get started. Picked up a set of NRG Type R replica seats, brackets, and sliders. I did some trading with a Facebooker here local, So appreciate the good deal. They fit well. The back bracket needs a little bit of persuading, but if I can. Let's see. This bracket needs to be angled inward. So let's see if we can get a better angle for you. If the hole was up and to the right a little bit, it would fit. The way it is now, it's just off a little, so we need to bend this bracket, and then probably need to go ahead and secure this, as it doesn't line up either. But nonetheless, great addition. While we're on the inside of the car, I picked up the gauges and the surround from a Facebook user a couple months back. We have oil pressure, electronic sender, and a boost gauge. Over here from Neo Garage, AMX Uego wideband. Currently the wideband needs the additional brown wire grounded. It doesn't read at the moment, so we'll get that hooked up. This is actually a pretty cool thing I wanted to point out to you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera flashlight on, or flash on, so you can see this, but I went ahead and integrated the gauge cluster here to the radio harness. The radio, you know, those little adapters that you can buy that allows you to wire in like an Alpine or a Pioneer. I went ahead and bundled the wires for all the speakers, the constant 12 volt, and just left the switch 12 volt and the ground exposed. And I built a harness that's in behind here that powers the oil pressure and the boost gauge when the ignition's on. So it's completely detachable. Fed it through here. This needs a lot of help, but it's all functional. On this side, Burton Racing's ECU. It's a P06 converted to VTEC. It's running boost by gear, OBD2A to OBD1 jumper harness. It's running the AEM input on D14, so I believe I don't have to remove or clip the resistors. If you know the answer, leave a comment below. I'm pretty sure I don't, but everything's situated there. We still lack the fuel pump harness from Burton Racing, and the boost by gear harness from Burton Racing. So let's go to the outside. All right, so let's start with the obvious. The car's had a lot of different wheels on it. It'll have a different set by the time it ends up at the challenge, but set up LS wheels, mesh integral wheels, brand new tires. I'll be selling these if anybody's interested. But let's start with the obvious. So it all started out with a barn plate front mount. Mike and Dustin built the actual piping kit. So the piping kit only has 4 connection points, or 4 coupler points. Go ahead and pop the hood here. Completely bone stock B18 B1 from a 98 LS Integra. Matching transmission. The VIN plate is actually still in the trans, and it's still way down here on the bottom on the block. Mike and Dustin built the intercooler kit, as I said. It's running a 50mm Chinese knockoff tile blow-off valve. It's a top mount manifold that they built also. downpipe as well, and dump tube. Tile MVS knockoff, Chinese version. This is plumbed by the Burton Racing Boost by Gear kit. Awesome kit, super simple to work with. My compressor housing was not pre-tapped, so I actually had to drill the hole and tap it for 1/8 inch pipe thread. All of these fittings are 1/8 inch pipe thread. So if you need to adapt like I did here, you can do so. So this is my main source of vacuum. It's going to power the blow-off valve as well as the boost gauge. Runs way back inside there. It's running an Omni Power 4-bar map, BMS liquid fuel pressure gauge. We'll be replacing this, the stock regulator. We're in a set of clean injection 450s. They flow 448 at 43.5 pounds. So as is right now, the pump that's in the tank is the factory pump. So we shouldn't have any problems to worry about for line pressure or inadequate line pressure. The actual solenoid here, I built a bracket for. I'm not a fab guy. It took me about a half hour to build a single bracket. This is where the harness will plug back in. Weatherproof connector. But guys, it's coming together. Coming together. I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but this is a set of the Max Speed and Rods coilovers without the dampening. They've got a lot of adjustment still available in the height. But even though you haven't seen a video in the last 3 months, we've been making some progress. Right now I have non-resistor plugs in it. I'll be swapping those over to the 4654s, BKR7E, whatever the equivalent is. I did set base timing whenever I was monkeying around with the Hondata. This is a huge accomplishment for me. I've never been one to really monkey or attempt any kind of ECU, Hondata tuning, chrome tuning. Way back in the day, that was the only thing that I knew existed. But right now the car is actually operational to start. I've got to tune out the idle part. I've got some help coming though, I believe, this coming weekend. So we should be in good shape. Oh, the other thing I wanted to call out. Mike and Dustin actually stitched up the exhaust, so we have a full exhaust all the way back. So an update on the car. The only thing left, 2 harnesses, fuel pressure regulator, some tuning. I need to connect the brown AEM wire. Find some rubber. After we get this thing kind of straight tuned, dyno tuned, we'll be seeing you guys in Mississippi. So the next video, I'll show you guys everything from the dyno. So that about sums it up. Episode 4, the build's nearing completion. We should see everybody down in Mississippi on the 23rd. I know I'm leaving on the 22nd. Probably be down there all weekend. So my plans are not yet determined. If there's anybody coming out to the challenge that has any events in mind, definitely share them with me. I'd love to participate and look forward to it, guys. So big thanks to everyone that's helped so far, and catch me in the next video. Thanks.